Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Show. I am not in the show. Hey, hello. I don't know what happened there. Hey, hi. I don't know what happened there. What an intro. Hello, Galimera Galispera. No matter where in the world you might be, thank you for making us part of your day. That's the first time I've ever done that. I actually didn't add myself to the stream. That's good production value for you, isn't it? Welcome, everybody. Hope everybody is in good form and your week is, happy, healthy, and everything in your life is grand. Let's say hello to some folks. Before we do that, unfortunately, Super Kev is stuck in major traffic. He's been working at Sky Sports all day and doing a whole bunch of stuff. And so he is unable to make the show. But you will get a slice of Super Kev somehow before the North London derby. So we're going to switch tactics tonight just a little bit. You know what? Mikel Arteta is going to have to be adaptable probably in that second half against Tottenham. So Mikel Arteta's style, off the cuff here, I'm switching tactics and we're going to have a conversation about the North London derby that comes right from here. The good old Arsenal heart. How about that? At ease, everyone. At ease. Thank you for joining. Did Chelsea end up losing that game? I think they did, didn't they? I don't know. I had to tune out and I was actually doing a Tottenham podcast just before this with Mr. Lee Judges, the last word on Spurs, with Anthony Costa from Blue as well and Ricky Sachs. If you want to listen to that, you can go. It was actually a decent conversation, banter, and quite friendly, may I ask? Maybe it was more like frenemies, like our football frenemies show was a little bit like that. 2-1, Terence. Thank you for that. Wow. Does Potter survive tonight? Does he? I don't know. I don't see it. I do not see it. He is on the new stadium artwork, and I wanted to kind of, praise him and talk about that a little bit. Super Kev made it, rightly so. Here he is next to, as he calls Pops, Paul Davis, who was on the show just a few months ago. If you missed that show, by the way, you should listen to it. It's an evergreen title in our Legends collection. Paul Davis talking about his book, his life at Arsenal. Super Kev absolutely loves Paul Davis, and to be on the artwork and be immortalized by the club like this is very, very special. And by the way, I don't know what you guys think of the unveiling yesterday and what our club have done and how they've included communities from all around the world. I don't think I've seen as many Arsenal fans that happy in a long, long time collectively. It was really quite a beautiful thing to watch. I spoke to Lee Dixon on Magic Mike's show the other day, and he was there too. And it's just a really cool thing. And the fact that you've got supporter groups, that get up at 4:30 in the morning to watch these games, they haven't been forgotten at all, and they've been included. I love the mural of the Arsenal quadruple team and the Invincibles. That to me is just epitomizes how our club views now the women's team. And of course, we know the men's team has been revered for so long, but the fact that Vic Akers was there as well. And by the way, stay at the end of the show because I have a big announcement to make about Monday's show. Okay. It was great. I absolutely loved it. Let's see. Guna Work says that artwork is top class. Haven't heard a bad thing about it thus far. Wish they had better artists doing it. I'd do it for free and be proud. Well, I thought it was pretty decent. Let's see. Man, we can really inflict some damage on the club if we beat them this Sunday. We're going to get to all of that. Let's see. Yes, he was on Sky Sports this morning. Absolutely brilliant. Big up Familia. Lovely stuff. Beautiful match. Felix getting sent. Oh my gosh. Wow. I mean, could it get any worse for Chelsea? I've gone from art to Chelsea. I'm going through your comments. Try and star some of these. Let's get back to this real quick. Let me know what you think about the art and 100 plus of you late this evening if you're in Europe, wherever else in the world you might be. As well, thank you for making us part of your day. We have listeners from all corners of the earth, some who stay up really super late to listen to us as well. Good evening, BB. Good to see you back in the house. EFTV Media, Chelsea are finished. You love to see it. If there was one thing that Lee and I could agree on the Tottenham podcast that we just did earlier with them is the demise of Chelsea and absolutely enjoying it and seeing it. Do you remember there wasn't that long ago where some Arsenal fans wanted Graham Potter to be the manager of Arsenal? I don't know if he's inherited a mess. I don't know if that club is broken. I think they're all of the above. But to not have any impact really since he has gone there is shocking. Like I said on Sky Sports, I think that their injuries are so severe. I mean, it's half of their starting 11. Those major, major players. But my goodness, woof, absolutely shocking stuff. Shocking. So, who cares? Long may it continue. I don't think Potter makes it through the night. I really don't. Clock Orange loves the Highbury art. And I think many Arsenal fans are really stoked with that. So we'll talk to Kevin how he feels about that when he's back on the show. Again, apologies, he's not here. He was scheduled to come on and take us beyond the white lines and talk about the North London derby and, of course, the experiences of playing in that. We're going to touch on him. He's going to definitely let us know what he thinks before the game on Sunday. Elliot, big time art for a big time club. Would you believe it? Oh, yes. Absolutely brilliant. Vic says he loves the art, but also a shame we couldn't have screens. Surely they'd pay for them with ad money, but I heard the council rejected the screens. It's a step-by-step process. You can get what you can. It's not easy, getting permission from the council to do a bunch of stuff these days. But I think in terms of what, they've put together, what it does is continues the journey of solidifying this club, as a club of the people. It always has been. And a lot of people always say the Arsenal. We've always kind of had that classiness about us. And to kind of, see that and see so many people happy. Our good friend Jill Armstrong and Geordie Armstrong being included. Just absolutely magical stuff. So really, really cool. And we are so stoked that Super Kev is right there in the middle of it all, as he should be, with some of the great players that he played alongside in the George Graham years. George Graham was there as well. It was just the icing on the evolution cake. The timing is perfect. And now we go into the North London derby this weekend. And there is so much at stake here, you guys. Like, so much at stake. I know every single North London derby is big. They're all big. They're all massive. No matter where in the league you are as well, if there's a fixture you never want to lose, it is this one. And here we are in a situation where we're currently 11 points ahead of Tottenham. I don't think many people predicted that at the beginning of the season. I don't think anyone predicted that Arsenal would be where they are right now at this part of the season. There's a lot of shows out there that you can listen to about tactics and formations and X's and O's and all that type of stuff. But I wanted to talk to you today about what this means for our club, what this game could mean for our club. Kev was going to do the player part and me, the fan passionate part, of course. But I'm going to still do my part, because for me, this game is the exact blueprint example of taking the process to progress. This is it. We saw the process evolve last season, and it was an absolutely beautiful thing, albeit it didn't end well in our fan perspective, in our eyes. If you listen to Arteta and Edu in their interviews, they say we're like a year ahead of our schedule. The schedule last year was to finish fifth and get back into Europe after being kicked out of Europe. The goal this season was to get back into the Champions League. Well, last season we were challenging for top four, and now this season here we are challenging for the title. An improbable situation once again. And I know that we all want Arsenal to strengthen this January. I know that we want to bring in players, and we will talk a bit about that on tomorrow night's show. On this show, it's all about facing the enemy, going behind enemy lines and coming out of that match without losing the game. It is so important that we don't lose that game. And the reason being is we are 11 points ahead of Tottenham, and yes, mind the gap. They're playing Manchester City after us, and they're pretty much the only Premier League team that has proven to be able to have City's number and beat them. Forget the League Cup result last night for Southampton, but going into this, this team, this is the time for so many different reasons. This is the time for us to take process to progress. These next 3 matches, right, are huge. Because after the Manchester United game, we play Everton, who are literally a broken club. And they were pretty broken when we went up to Goodison Park last season and lost 2-1 to them. That was the end of the Aubameyang chapter. That was the final nail in his Arsenal coffin. And from then on, we have not looked back in terms of growth, in terms of player evolution, in terms of the manager evolving as well, bringing in other players, just building on, I think, what was an awful night up north to then turning it into something that became a massive positive for the club, right? So after that, we have Brentford. Then we've got the game against Manchester City, our first game against Manchester City. Then we play Aston Villa, which is going to be an interesting match because we're playing that at Villa Park. And of course, we know who the manager of Aston Villa is now. And there's going to be a lot of, noise surrounding that match. And then at the end of February, we have Leicester City, who are a shadow of their former selves. I mean, these are the games, if you want to be champions of England, these are the games you absolutely have to win. The games you really have to win now are the ones against the big boys. We got done at Manchester United. I was there at Old Trafford, very proud to be an Arsenal fan that day. You wouldn't have known we were the team that were losing 3-1. Seeing the VAR report come out and them admitting that they made a mistake just makes it even more frustrating. That's payback time for that lot. And they're on this 8-game run. At some point, I think once Manchester United come to us, they're going to be due a loss away from home. But this game against Tottenham Hotspur, you can never take anything for granted form-wise, unless it was the Thierry Henry, Patrick Vieira years, of course. But we've also seen us go into these moments, with superior teams and come off as losers. So this is massive, absolutely massive. And what I want to talk about is if we win this game, which we haven't done since 2014, I think we win this game or get a point, don't lose it. You beat Manchester United and then you get something out of Manchester City. That's when I will start to really become more, not that I don't believe we can win the league, but that's when I feel like the gear is shifted into 5th and process has gone to progress on another level, right? These next 3 games are going to define our season. And we're going to see and we're going to learn a lot about this Arsenal team. We're going to find out pretty quickly. I think they've shown they've overcome the heartbreak of last season, coming back and starting off the way we have and only having lost 1 game, drawn 2. That is mental growth massively. But now, when we were playing those games, we were like, oh, perky Arsenal, look at them coming back. Oh, they've won another game. Oh, look at the Arsenal. Oh, man, wolf. Should we start taking the Arsenal seriously? Wow, do you think Arsenal can finish in top 4 this season? Oh, wow, Arsenal, they won again. Surely not. Arsenal now ahead of Manchester City. Wow, they've extended their points. Dear Lord, could Arsenal actually win the Premier League? That's how it's gone since August. Now we're here in the moment, the spotlight. It's like you're up on stage, can't get stage fright. There's no turning back now. No rearview mirror syndrome. You only look ahead. And the more this machine moves forward in the manner of which it is, the more games we win or don't lose, the intensity is just going to grow and grow and grow. And I think there's a lot of elements to this match that we need to be careful. One of the questions I was going to ask Kev was, I don't know if a match has ever been about the managers. I'm not sure how you guys feel about this one, but both managers have been in the spotlight over the last few weeks. Antonio Conte for, you know, his usual crybaby throwing the toys out the pram, meltdowns, kind of taking the piss out of his team in terms of them wanting to finish 5th or 6th. And of course, Mikel Arteta, you know, being criticized for his sideline behavior. And we'll get onto the FA charge at the end of the show, by the way. Do not let me forget about that, because boy, do I have something to say about that. So I don't know if a game has ever been about managers. I think there were times where it was definitely about, I'm talking about now, because it definitely happened under the Wenger-Fergie days. And I do believe that there was a lot of that when Mourinho was manager at Chelsea and Wenger, and you had their handbags at dawn fight on the sidelines, which, by the way, was totally epic. So I think this is a huge game for both managers, not only in terms of the result, but the behavior as well. We're under the spotlight now, people, and they're coming for us and they're gunning for us. And you can see that in the FA charge, right? I mean, screw it. Let's just intertwine it right now, because I was going to bring it up at the end. So this is the example that they gave. It's amazing that this is happening before the North London derby too, isn't it? Timing, craziness. So this is the image as to why the Arsenal were charged by the FA for misconduct. And then these situations have happened so far this season. We've had incidents like this. And of course, we were there. Newcastle surrounding the referee to get Odegaard booked. Their behavior that night was garbage. Absolute garbage. And then, of course, the kings of surrounding the referee, the Academy Award winners of ref surrounding Manchester United, and the Arsenal get slapped on the wrist for this. I mean, just craziness to me. And this is what I was talking about on the show a few weeks ago, right? Regarding us keeping our heads together, regarding not losing it and having our manager be calm on the sideline, especially away from home. Now, I like his passion. I love his passion. I think it's fundamentally important to help galvanize the crowd at home. I think it's fundamentally important to show the players, to keep them fighting on the pitch and all of that stuff. But this is leading up to something. Do not be shocked if there are a couple warnings for Arteta during this match against Tottenham, because he's not going to be able to change his behavior. You get to that point in your life, you are who you are. And he said in the press conference, this is me. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry, Mikel, for who you are. You can see the pattern emerging here. He's got to be really careful he doesn't get red carded and sent into the stands in that game, because what does that do? That galvanizes the home side, galvanizes their manager. And I'm not saying that they need that motivation, but we saw what happened at Liverpool. The crowd were very motivated by that, as was Jurgen Klopp. So he needs to be careful, because we can't afford those kinds of instances in our squad and as we go forward. We need everybody. No red cards. I mean, look what's happened. João Felix, he's on loan. They're paying $1 gazillion. Dude gets sent off tonight. I haven't seen the incident because I was on another broadcast, but I will have a look at it. I mean, you've got to be really, really careful. Let's get some of your comments up. Arteta was sticking up for the dodgy decisions with passion. Yes, yes, yes. I agree. Stick up, have a go at them, put the pressure on. I'm just saying, away from home, you need to be a bit careful about that. You know? Neil Gunnison says Arsenal always being picked on by the FA. They're anti-Arsenal, and I would love it if we win the league. Oh, I would too. Absolutely love it. Neil, was it you who said that Newcastle got charged? Someone got charged after one of the games of the pictures I showed. Sperotta says it's really bizarre stuff. Literally dozens of domestic clubs remonstrate. Absolutely. 100%. Nick, yeah. 5 teams that played Newcastle faced FA charges after. Got to be prepared for this, the physicality of it all. And Antonio Conte, as we know, look what happened in that very first game of the season against, or was it the last? I can't remember now. It's been so long. It feels like Potter's been there too long, but we like that. Tuchel and him. That whole scenario. You know, managers who are more experienced and who have won at the highest level get away with it just a little bit more. We have to earn our respect back. I've said that many times on the show. They will respect us more if we win the Premier League. Look what's happening. Look what happens at Manchester United and Liverpool. They get decisions. They go their way. You win the league, you're champions, you get a bit of the rub of the green. It doesn't make it right. It's disgusting. What's happened really is disgusting. And someone in the club needs to be really vocal about this because it's pathetic. When you look at what happens in the Premier League week in, week out, and we get charged for this, it makes your blood boil. But what we can't allow is for this to get to us here. Said it on Monday's show, and I'll keep saying it over and over again. Arsenal will win and lose this league here. Because we know we can play here. We're pretty good at football. We've only lost 1 game in the Premier League this season. You do not get to mid-January and you're not a legit team at the top of the table, 5 points clear of the current champions. But if you don't have it here and you start losing that, things get a little bit shaky. So when I asked the question about, has a game been about the managers before? I think this is going to be critical. Because if there's something guaranteed in life, it's death, taxes, and Harry Kane scoring in a North London derby. They're going to be up for this. He is also going for Jimmy Greaves' record. And we haven't won there since 2014, as I said. So we need to have our wits about us. We need 10 men on the pitch. We need our manager to be like he was at Brighton. That was away from home. It wasn't so much about the crowd. It was about us maybe losing our mental engagement towards the end of the match. 4-3, a VAR decision goes our way. If that hadn't, then you've still got a few minutes on the clock. But what was he doing on the sideline? This. That is what we need from Mikel Arteta. I love your passion, Gaffer. I love it all. I'm Greek. You're Spanish. These, ethnic people, we all have passion. You don't have to be ethnic to have passion. But in these moments, we're really going to need him to keep it together. And this is exactly the kind of game where he's going to have to keep it together. Mark says, let the pressure get to them at the end of the season. So hopefully psychological lessons have been learned by Arteta and the team. Mr. Bungle says, hit the nail on the head, Sophie. We got to keep our marbles intact. Exactly. They're coming for us, Mr. Bungle. All of them. All of them. When Arteta said the charge being scandalous, never a true word spoken, that hurt us. Listen, is it true? 100 gazillion%. But you know what? I think, just my humble opinion, Mr. Bungle, as you love it when I say that, or is it Wesbird that likes me saying that? That resulted in some of this as well. They don't like to be humiliated, do they much, the FA? When your manager says it was scandalous, that's a pretty strong word. Do we all agree with it? Absolutely, 100%. But again, you got to play the game. Fergie was a master. And again, winning. You win. You collect the equity, the winning equity coupons. You put them in your rucksack. You march on. You keep winning. Then you get to say a few things that other managers wouldn't get away with. Then you get to do a few things on the pitch that other teams don't get away with. The scandalous comment is also something that we got slapped on the wrist with somewhat there. The difference with this team is they respond well to failure and pain. That Newcastle result will galvanise them. Fluid flows, I agree with you, because since losing to Manchester City at Manchester United at Old Trafford, we have gone on a run. That game, as much as I have PTSD from it, was one of the best things that happened to us as a team. We knew we got robbed that day. Also, Mikel Arteta, it was very early on in the season, of course. It was a September match. Was it August? I can't remember. And he was a little bit more controlled post-game because we knew we got screwed on that VAR decision. It was pathetic. So he can apply the pressure and he can make his comments in different ways. They don't want us to win anything. And if we do, it's going to be the most glorious, most satisfying Premier League title we've ever won. Other than the Invincibles, of course. So we'll see. The FA and the league want to rattle us, but we must do the rattling now. Keep our composure. Very well said. Let's see. Oh gosh, doesn't matter who it is. We just got to keep it together. Let's see. Yep, Lynn. Listen, we know what's coming. Son, what about what happened last year there? Son is very clever. They're clever at this kind of stuff. You know? Why is Gabriel in danger against Spurs? No, look, Holding came in and was the rash one last year. I think Gabriel's been unfairly treated in that regard. John says, spot on, Sophie, big game for the ladies as well. Yes, we're going to talk to Demian about that tomorrow night. Demian's coming back on the show tomorrow night. He's going to play something for you as well. Don't say I don't do nice things, okay? George knew the stick we've been getting in the media the last couple of weeks. Jump on the bandwagon and get the Arsenal. It's fashionable. Yep, 100%. And how many times has Kev told you that very same story? Good evening, E. I just did a Tottenham show, The Last Word on Spurs. You can watch that if you'd like. Pep is such a likable character. Those personality traits are what Arteta should have aspired to before emulating tactics. Pep is a likable character for who? Pep is a likable coach. He's a genius. He's not exactly, well-behaved on the sidelines. What makes him likable? And what makes Arteta unlikable to some is he comes across as super arrogant. I didn't like him at the beginning. I said that on this show. I want him to be more likable. But if he wins, who gives a shit if he's likable? What does likability have to do with winning? It's your team and you win, you give zeros about likability. I mean, that's it at the end of the day. We had unlikable players and we won 4 FA Cups while we were on our knees in our darkest days. We celebrated that. Didn't like half the players in those teams. Apathetic. Just totally disengaged. And no one likable is a winner. Not everyone is Roger Federer. Michael Jordan was not likable by a lot of people. Sometimes you just got to be ruthless. We got to take out the niceties and all that bollocks, right? Arsenal are evolving into being ruthless again. And that is exactly what we've been lacking. We've been this super nice Jackanory team for too long. It started to get a little bit hardcore. And I think that is something that Kev talks about all the time. Intimidating in the tunnel, intimidating here, intimidating there. We lost that completely. And as if I was in the midst of saying his name, don't say we don't do nice things. Look who's made it. Super Kevin Campbell. Bosh.
Oh, good night, everybody. Good night. How you doing?
I've just been on a rant, Kev, for about half an hour talking
you
about the
do
importance of winning
it.
this game, everyone being against us.
Really?
Yeah. Is this a game of the managers? When was the last time this was a game of managers?
Well, they are against us. You got to remember, everyone are against us. They do not want us to win. You got to remember, everybody who it kind of matters who's around us do not want the Arsenal to win. They don't.
Yep.
So you will see relatives coming out. I've noticed all of a sudden. Now it's Mikel Arteta on the sideline. Now it's we're crowding the referee. It's nonsense. But
is the other thing too.
We have to take it because we have to stick together.
Exactly. Ethelston is in the house, and we know he's a Spurs fan, but he was talking about Pep being likable, Kev. And I'm like, he has a likability factor. And I'm like, no one gives a shit about likability factors. It's about winning. George Graham never had a likability factor. Our Arsenal team that you played in did not have a likability factor. That Manchester United Fergie team did not have a likability factor. I said that who gives a shit about likability if Arteta wins the Premier League and this team wins the Premier League? So you've been there in these moments.
Sophie, I'm going to say one line and one line only on this. I don't care whether you like us, but you better respect us.
Bosh.
It's that simple. I don't care. We're not here to be liked, but you will respect us. Because you get nothing easy against us.
You were just chopping out, your internet was chopping out a little bit there, Kev. But what we were saying was, because we were talking about the FA charge earlier, right? And how the respect will also bring, maybe not that it makes it right, Kev, but the respect will maybe stop some of those hellacious decisions or these stupid charges going against us. The things that Liverpool got away with, Manchester United got away with, Chelsea got away with, all of those things. What do you think about that FA charge and how it pertains to maybe Arteta using the word scandalous and this agenda against us, Kev? And I showed these pictures. This is what we were charged with. And these are the scenes that we've seen, this season and more.
Well, obviously ours is worse, isn't it? Obviously ours, Soph. I mean, come on. Look at the photos. It tells you we're the worst of the lot. Sophie, it's exactly what I say. When you're the Arsenal, it's us against the world. It's that simple. And people, it's no point getting riled up about it. I'm telling you, because it's going to be there until we win. When we win, all of a sudden you're going to see people start going, whoa. But when you don't win and you're there on merit and people don't fancy you, you start to see BS like this.
Mm-hmm.
No, in 89 it was there. In 91 they still tried to do it to us. Us and Man United battling on the pitch. They get a point, we get two. Why? Anders Limpar, they were kicking the life out of Anders Limpar on the floor. Yet we get 2 points and they get 1. So, go with us. I don't want to hear no fair. Get fair, because this ain't fair. But that's why we've got to stick together and do everything to get our boys over the line. Because let me tell you, there will be a lot of sick people if we can do that. A lot of sick people. I am telling you. And you
man, Kev's saying some big stuff here and he's cutting out.
And I've gone out.
Yeah. Start that one again, Kev.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. To go
Pop out and pop back in. Yeah, pop out and
Back, I
pop back in
will.
because it's too important what you're saying. Way too important what you're saying. Kev's going to go back in, come back in, go back out, come back in. He's bang on the money and he's lived it. There we go, Kev. You back? Is that good? No, he's going to go back and come back in. I mean, I agree with this. I was going to ask Neil's question to Kev. I think the current squad should be shown the footage of the pep talk GG made back in 91. That's brilliant if you haven't seen it, by the way. I'm pretty sure most Arsenal fans have seen that. It's just absolutely brilliant. Here you are, Kev.
Yeah. So, listen, no matter what people say, and we've said it earlier on in the season, when you're a Gooner and you win, you've got to enjoy it. And I mean enjoy it. Because, believe you me, to climb this mountain, they're trying everything to put us off, everything to stop us. They try everything. Believe you me.
I put this up earlier.
This is all part of why we're Gooners.
I put this up earlier, Kev, that Neil hopes that the current squad should look at the 91 speech from George, where he had you all.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Definitely agree. They should. They should watch it. They should listen to a lot more. The stories, everyone being against us. When you're Gooners, having that cannon on your chest, it's a heavy weight. That not just for the players, for the fans as well. It is a big weight. Now, everybody, you know, I done an interview today, and I was speaking to the interviewer, and I said to him, "Look, back."
Damn. Kev, if you can hear me, get on your phone and come back in. Get on your mobile and come back in. Yes, we get Kev, and then his internet is trying to destroy our Super Kev intelligence. Tottenham infiltrating our system here. He'll be back. He'll come back in. Spurs internet, exactly. Trying to sabotage us. What's boy say? As a Gooner, whenever everyone has been against us, has been the only time we've been doing things well. Things as they should be right now. The world is against us. Kev's back. The world is against us. Go on, Kev. Now we can't hear you. Yeah. Nope. Can't hear you. And
can you hear me?
Damn. Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, it's the internet. It's the if you get cut off, try hitting us up on your phone. Yeah, let me send Kev a little text real quick. Dun, 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 dun. Try your phone. Everyone's willing to be patient. Yeah, because it's worth it. It's absolutely worth every single second. Demsek says in response to Newman saying that our fines are self-inflicted, other teams surround the ref and get the benefit. Arsenal do it and the ref reports the club. It's ridiculous. Who does that ref report? Do we know? Support.
So there's a gremlin system tonight because I've not been on it. I've not been on. So there's a gremlin in the system. But what I wanted to say was, I done the interview and I was speaking to the guy, and he was, we got well beaten at Spurs, and then we went to Newcastle and got turfed over. And do you remember we had a conversation at the end of the season? I said that could be the best thing to ever happen to us, because when you go into the summer, you carry that around like a backpack. Honestly, you feel like unfinished business, right? Now, you see the way we start, you see the way things are 6 months or whatever down the line, 7 months down the line. I said to the guy, look where Spurs are and look where we are. I said,
Mhm.
that's the difference. I said, these players, they feel it inside now. They've got it. That's why the squad is likable, because they play with their heart on the sleeve. They do. They play with their heart on the sleeve. And I said, now we're ready. I said, do we need additions? Of course we do. But I said, now we're ready. Last season, we weren't ready at Spurs. We weren't ready. Now we're
We
ready.
we weren't ready, and we didn't have a Saliba, we didn't have Thomas Partey, we didn't have a Tommy, we didn't have, a Zinchenko. We've not only are we ready mentally, but I think we're also ready player personnel wise. Just wanted to throw this one in there from Lone Star. My team are badge fighters, but could we be a bit more street wise? Do you think? I think Ben White is our best street wise player, Kev. Do you think that there's a naivety still, maybe even to the manager, just a little bit, like away from home? Is he going to have to like hold that back a little bit? He's going to incite that. This is what I was saying earlier in the show.
Yeah,
What's
but
your
why
take
should
on
he?
that?
Yeah, but why should he? Why should he hold anything back? We don't want our team to hold back, do we?
No, we don't want our team.
And
We don't want to get in trouble. We don't want red cards.
no, but this is a competitive game. This is a competitive sport. What we don't want, this is what we don't want. We don't want teams to roll us over and us not show any fight. And that's everybody, because we're all in it together. And it's easy to just throw that one at, Arteta could rile the whole fans. So what? We don't care about the home fans. We care about what we're doing, because we want to win. And sometimes, yeah, the passion could go overboard, but it is an emotional game, isn't it? It's a tough game. And you know what? So where we are, we want to win.
Okay, so when someone has said to me in the past, when I expressed my passion for, reasons why I felt like we weren't ticking, with Arteta and stuff like that, they told me I was too emotional. But now all of a sudden, everyone accepts that Mikel Arteta is emotional. He probably used the word emotional and passionate 550 million point three times infinity plus two in the All or Nothing documentary, Super Kev. So is it okay now that I'm an emotional fan and I react emotionally? Am I an image of my manager? Was I ahead of the game when it actually came to him emotion wise?
Of
Don't
course
we
it ain't,
want him?
Sophie, listen, people will look. People might have a different opinion to you, but that's just an opinion. You or you are me. We have differences of opinion. I get that. But one of the reasons why I'm on here with you is because I know what it's like to be on that pitch and across that white line, where the fans are in the stand, you're up against it because you're in opposition territory, and you've got to fight. And you all have to fight. And sometimes you have to do some naughtiness. Ben White,
But then
Gabriel, Granit Xhaka, Thomas Partey puts his foot in. But
I'm
the
all
other lads,
I'm all about that.
the
I'm
other
all
lads.
about that.
No, I'm not saying you're not. I'm just saying, but we have to fight our corner, and they're going to know in no uncertain terms. I tell you what, Mikel Arteta just needs to show the first half of last season's game. That's all. Just the highlights of last season's game. Because that pain and that heavy weight of the backpack will all come out in that. Definitely. That will rev the players up, I'll tell you that much. Big time.
I felt like after we got charged by the FA, I was in between two different Twitter posts. So I just posted the pictures of all the other teams. But in my mind, I was thinking, I could see Mikel Arteta now. He is probably so riled up by this, right? The treatment of him, the media mayhem, the slagging him off. our team getting, charged by the FA now. And Kev, I had this image because you've told us in the past, and going across those white lines with you now, where George Graham used them as the us against the world. I had this image of Mikel Arteta, like in Rocky, where whether it was Clubber Lang getting ready to fight Rocky and he had his picture up there and he just kept looking at his picture, whether you're talking about those great heavyweight fights, from Ali to Sonny Liston, the Marvin Hagler, Thomas the Hitman Hearns, how much of all of the outside chaos and noise, I know you've experienced it, do you think he's using in this scenario?
100%. Him and his staff, 100%. They're using everything. They're using the no penalties against Newcastle. They're using they're using everything, because as far as Mikel's concerned and the staff will be concerned, we are not getting treated the same as everybody else. We're getting a bum deal. So, the best way to beat somebody not treating you right is to beat them. Is to win. And when you keep winning, Soph, in the end, the opposition have to just hold their hands up, because you've got through every test. Because you're not only playing Spurs, you're playing the establishment. That's what we have to remember. We're Gooners. We know this. There's some people who will watch this who don't understand what we're talking about. But when you're going for titles, you're playing the establishment as a Gooner.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big difference. They thought that we were done. After Spurs got fourth spot last year, they were sure, not ready. Look at them. They're not ready. They're too young. Do you reckon they want to see us where we are? They're reluctant to talk nice about us, Soph. Reluctant.
They're waiting for the shoe. They're waiting for the shoe to drop, aren't they?
Hey, Sophie, let me just tell you this, and just remember what I'm going to say. Squaddies, remember what I say here. We questioned whether Eddie could do it in our first team, right? Could you imagine we didn't win with Eddie? What the press, what the media would be like? Imagine what they'll be like to us as a club, us, Eddie as a player, etc. Mikel. They would be sharpening the knives. But this is what we've got to contend with. I think Mikel Arteta loves it. I really do. I think he loves it, because you know what? It makes his job easy. Because when you're a player and you get wronged, you feel it. You feel it.
Mm-hmm.
So him and his staff will be touching on all them points, so just to keep that edge in the team. Because you know what? The next 7 games,
so this
season.
This is what I said too at the top of the show. We play Tottenham, then we have Manchester United at home, payback time. I said on that one, we've got Everton at home, who I think, even though they were broken a little last season when we went up there, Kevin, I mentioned the nail in Aubameyang's Arsenal coffin. This is a very different, broken Everton team. They don't seem to have much, but it isn't easy. Nothing is guaranteed in football. Then you go to then we're at home to Brentford. And that game on the 15th, which I think is the defining game, because the one after comes against Emery at Villa Park, which again isn't going to be easy. Then we have Leicester. This is why part of the show today I wanted to focus less on tactics and formations and more on the heart, the feeling, the vibe, the will to win, and what it means for Arsenal Football Club to not walk away with that game losing, to at least come out of it with something. And of course, a win, Kev. What every single time Arsenal Football Club play, everyone says, they've got to show something, or they've got to send a signal, they've got to send a sign. And I do believe that our process has gone to progress, but I do believe that there's true evolution to progress now, and that is getting a result at Tottenham since 2014, beating Manchester United at home, and getting something out of Manchester City that has just been a horrific team for us to play over the last few years. You get through these fixtures, and then you get to Everton, and you've got those other games coming at you, Kev. I think do you think is it an overreaction, or am I on the money to say these next 3 games define our season?
No, I think it's more than the next 3 games, because we don't know what's going to happen. We know what we want to happen, but there's a lot of football to be played. That's why I said 7 games. Our next 7 games, league games, are going to really define. Because one thing we've got to do, and we're not talking tactics, that's up to Mikel and his staff. The desire, the dedication, the devilment, the danger that we have to impart on our opponents, we have to do that right to the end of the season. And yet, it's not always going to go our way. But you know what, Sophie? I've said it all along. We're here on merit. We still can get better. And we need additions. If we can get 2 or 3 players in, it could make a huge difference to our squad. I mean, really can. ESR coming back, needs to get himself some game time, obviously. He could be a big player for us because he's someone from midfield who can score. That is key in tight games. So, again, 3 games, yeah, of course, it's important, but I think we need a bigger sample size now of what is going to define us. Because you win all 7. You win all 7, Soph?
Well, Kev, you win all 7. You then go into you got Leicester, Bournemouth, Fulham, and Palace, and
you win all 7, then you're cooking, Soph. You are cooking
silverware.
Well, but you're cooking. Every hurdle that's come at you, we have to overcome. And that's where the desire, the dedication, the devilment, and the danger, recognizing that danger. That's without tactics. That's the norm now. So if you're crossing that white line and you haven't got 1, you got 3 and not 4, because every team's going to want to test you. Every team wants to be the team to beat you.
Kev, in that 91 side, how much, because I've tried to adopt this attitude of coaches and managers that talk about 1 game at a time. In that 91 team, and do you think were you a 1 game at a time squad? Do you think Arteta says it? Even Odegaard keeps saying it in all his post-match interviews. This amongst the players, though, are you secretly talking about it, or are you just adopting the attitude?
No, listen, you know who you're playing, but you're crazy, man. You're crazy players if you start thinking 2-3 games ahead. You come unstuck quick, and we've seen Arsenal come unstuck quick from not being in this position. And that's where the professionalism, and that's where the pain of the back end of last season, I think, is going to help us. Because I think these players are on a mission. Of course we want to win it. We could say, we'll be happy with this. No, we want to win it. If we don't, we don't. But you've got to have the desire. What's the point in playing in the league if you don't want to win it? We want to win. We want to win it. So have the dedication and the focus and the mindset to concentrate on one opponent at a time. You do your homework, you do your tactics on the training pitch, and you go out there and majority of your team will be better than the opposition. You do that, you win most games. That's the name of the game.
Okay, so real quick, a few more minutes. Kev's had a really super long day and he's jumped in here, made it after fighting traffic in the grand old Blighty. Kev, I feel like if these two play, it's a totally different game against Tottenham. And these two, of course, we know and people rave about them. Kane is guaranteed a goal in this game, pretty sure of it. But it is different because we have these three at the back together with Zinny, and we've seen what Zinny brings to the midfield as well. But Kev, what's your take on, is their duo is still the most dangerous, I'm assuming, but these two, it's proven that without them, Tottenham have struggled.
Yeah, but I don't. Are they? Listen, Kulishevsky and Benkanter are good players. Are good players. We're better. It's that simple. We know where Tottenham's strength is. It's their front two. If Kulishevsky's going to play, that means they're probably going to play a front three, which suits us. So, again, they've got all the problems. So, Spurs have got all the problems. They're at home. They've got to come for us. And we love our away form is as good as anyone. It's as good as anyone. So I don't want no excuses. Oh, we didn't have Benkanter, we didn't have Kulishevsky. You know what's going to happen, Soph, if we turn them over. So, again, it's about us. It's not about them. They're good players. Of course they are. And are they better with them in the squad? Of course they are. Better with them in the team, yeah. But I fancy us.
So when I was talking to your old teammate the other night, Mr. Lee Dixon, who's also talking about your dancing, but we'll save that for another day for the squaddies. He was talking about how he thinks that Saka and Martinelli can destroy their wing back. So I'm going to ask you this question because one of the beautiful things about watching Arsenal play this season is how we are performing not only as an 11, but the reason there's so much harmony and symphony is because our units are performing together, which leads to the 11 being perfect. So if I was going to ask you against this particular Tottenham team at this particular time, when we're looking at our units, you've got these three, you can put Zinny in this unit, but you can also put him in this unit. And then there's this unit, Saka, Martinelli, and Eddie. Kev, how do you, they're all important, but where do you think is going to be the most fundamentally important unit from an execution perspective?
Well, the execution has to be defensively. Because if you don't concede, you don't lose. Right? But we want to win. So the attack, they're all connected anyway. So it's kind of a crazy question. But we want to win the game. So we want Saka, we want Martinelli, and we want Eddie to have the game of their lives. They play well and they score 2-3 goals. We win the game. You know, we win the game. That's what it's about. It's about getting over the line, and when the challenge is there, you rise to the challenge. And you know what? It might take somebody out the blue to turn up with a goal.
Yeah, I mean, what about the bench in this game, Kev? What do you see? What do you see with the same situation with Newcastle? He's going to ride the 11, and
I mean, if Smith Rowe's all right, we'll see how that one goes. But I don't really see too much coming off the bench. I know Vieira could pick a pass. if there's time on the ball. It depends on the score as well. But I think his first 11 have done the business most of the season. So he's going to stick with that 11. Obviously, Eddie's in that. So let's see.
This is a game where Eddie could become a cult hero instantly, isn't it? It's just these games are made for superheroes, icons, cult heroes, you name it. You perform. This is why I'll always love Torreira. That moment, the 4-2. I mean, I will forever. He'll be in my heart because of those moments. Lone Star just said too, Kev, real quick, that fast start. Spurs are terrible in the first half, but the second half, we haven't capitalised on our fast start against Newcastle. Is that a piece of film that Arteta's also going to be saying? You've got to take your chances. If you don't take your chances, you don't win football games. So getting that fast start is massive, isn't it?
Yeah, but the players know that. The players, that's been their mantra all season. The players know what they need to do. If they don't score, then they're gonna struggle to win this. The key is to do what they've been doing all season. Go for the jugular, dominate the ball, and when Spurs come out for them, you pick them off. That's the key. You pick them off, and when you get the ball to your wide players, you hurt the opposition. You get in that box, put balls in the box, and you hurt them. When you get chances, you take them. Simple, really, isn't it, Soph?
It's football, isn't it? It's football. All right, what's your prediction? What do you think? What do you see happening, Kev?
I said 2-1. I said 2-1 the other day, didn't I? I said 2-1. Listen, I'll take a 3-0. I'll take a 3-0 win, but I'll take a 2-1 will do me, or a 1-0 to the Arsenal will do me.
I know I got killed on the Monday show for saying I'll take a point right now.
Yeah, but you've already said your bit. You're taking a point, so
I can't change my mind. He's not letting me. No forgiveness here from Super Kev.
No, well, you listen. I tried the other day and you wouldn't budge. No. So why would you budge
2-2.
now?
It's a Desmond. I think it's a. Listen.
Fair enough.
A point. We're 11 points ahead of them. They're not the problem this season. The problem is Manchester City, who we know can go on a 12-13 game run. They're bruised.
By the way,
Kev, losing. That was a strong team.
Hey, by the way.
Yeah, you're going to talk about Felix and Chelsea.
No, by the way, Manchester City have got their hands full with Man United at Old Trafford at the weekend. Let me tell you right now, this City is buzzing because United haven't been on this type of run for a long time. And especially what they done to United at their place earlier on in the season. So it's not no foregone conclusion, I'm telling you.
Kev, I have United down to win that game, and then they'll be due a loss when they come to the Emirates, and we will beat them. Their run will end when they play us. Okay, we've got Kev's predictions. We're gonna we did something at the beginning of the show. You weren't here, and the squaddies have sent many, many messages, Super Kev, and how proud and happy they are for you that you have been immortalized as part of the new art of our beautiful club.
By the way, is that a cap or a wig?
I think it's a cap.
No, it is a cap. I know it's a cap.
Because we do know you love a wig, Kev. We do know you love a wig.
Hey, listen,
look at Pop's cigar.
A little syrup now and again. Yeah, Pops has got the lardy, and he look. Yeah, brilliant.
Oh my goodness. I mean, so many comments like this. Many comments like this, Kev. You must be so proud. I mean, your family must be proud. Tell us what this means to you.
It just means that, from a little boy who supported Arsenal, he's part of the club's heritage and history. I never ever thought the first time I went to Highbury that young kid from Brixton could be there. But two South London boys, you know, in that window, are part of the great Arsenal's heritage and history. I'll take that, Soph, all day long. Beautiful moment.
Well, listen, like everyone's saying, well deserved. Congrats, cemented in folklore. Don't forget that. Absolutely, haven't won the League Cup and a European trophy since Super Kev was playing for the Arsenal. But this is legendary status right here. We knew it before, but for you to be part of all of that, Super Kevin Campbell, thank you for the memories, and thank you, and all of the other players who have been recognised as well, and to all of our fans from around the world who've been recognised by our club. I just love that Arsenal did this, Kev.
Do you know what, Soph? This is what I wanted to speak about, actually. The fact of the matter is, you get a portal back to Highbury. I think that is so important. It's just down the road, and it's apartments and all that. And it's not forgotten, but the connection with the Emirates has never really been there, really. Although, you know, players were together, linking arms, but it wasn't just Highbury, was it? There was no, you'd seen some of the players play at Highbury, but you know, where was Highbury at the Emirates? I think what they've done here is superb. I know some people moan about it, but I think it's really poor. You know, when you look at some of them photos, it actually ports you back to the time. And, you know, the Invincibles and all that. It's fantastic chunks of Arsenal history that anytime you go to the ground or you see a picture, it's a time machine back, Soph. That's what photos are. Photos are time machines. You see a photo when you're younger. Anybody, I'll tell you this. You see a photo when you're younger, a lot of the time you can remember what happened, what music, the smells. You can remember everything. Photos are time machines.
Photos are time machines. That is brilliant. And you know what? You take us back into the time machine all the time, and we love it. We love the nostalgia, the stories. I love that this show is called Highbury Squad. I love that they did include, it's one of the most iconic stadiums, not only in England, but the world. You know, the Art Deco, just all of it. And the fact that they've got you out the windows where we'll all run after the game and just hope that you guys will pop your heads out all the time, no matter what. And boy, did you.
Well, at one stage, right, it was throwing clothes out.
It was. I don't know if they were his most of the time.
No, they weren't his. He was throwing everybody
no,
else's clothes out.
Oh, man. Well, listen, Kev, thank you so much for popping in tonight. It means the world to us. And we're so happy that you did, because we wanted to say congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank
you very much.
We're so very, very proud of you. And someone said, Kev, in the chat, it's not just about what you did when you were playing, it's what you've done afterwards. No player like you that connects with our community in the way that you do. Your care and your kindness is up there. So we thank you and we love you very much, and congrats to you and your family and all of those years, as you said, being a South London boy and now forever, ever immortalised at the Arsenal, and rightly so. Take us out, Super Kev.
Listen, I turned up late because I was all over the place today. But
a bit like me.
I was all over the place today. London, then traveling up. It was crazy. But squaddies, I made it. That's the key. Sophie, squaddies, I salute you. Look after yourselves. Don't forget, we're gooners and we stick together. Tell your loved ones you love them, because we love you all. At ease, squaddies. At ease.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.